The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, so it looks like it is 2 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar. I want to take a second to welcome you all and thank you for joining in on us today. I'm Courtney Matlick, and I work in Sales and Business Development for Stahl's cad-cut Direct. Basically designed this webinar for heat printing for female college students. So I'm going to start by showing you guys some trends that we're seeing in the women's market, specifically with female college students. And then I'll show you some of the different materials and techniques that you can use to achieve those looks and market and sell that business as well. So whether you've decorated for this market in the past or you're just looking to break into it, we definitely are going to give you some ideas of where the trends are going and how you can hit this market for the upcoming year. Just so I have an idea of who all we have here on the webinar, we're going to be taking a quick poll on how many of you actually own a heat press.
Okay, Courtney, here are your results. We have 89% people who do own a heat press and 11% that does not.
Oh, well, fantastic. Since many of you are heat printing, this will be a great webinar for you. If you're not currently decorating with a heat press, there's no need to jump off the webinar just yet. We're going to give you plenty of tips and ideas for decorating these types of apparel with the trends as well. So jumping right in, we'll go into how things have changed with the women's wear market in the recent years. Basically, the days of the boxy t-shirts like I have here in the picture, or the left chest logos, or the back prints have all gone away. Women want to look different from their men counterparts, and they don't want any garments that have the word unisex in it. Basically, they're looking for something more, something fitted to their silhouette, a little longer, a little more flattering neckline, and also unique designs on them as well. The female college student market is no different from this. They still want the fitted garments, but they also want the compromise between the fashion and the style and comfort, since they're sitting in classes and taking long days studying as well. When you're looking into this traditional market, think of those popular stores and the looks that they're currently having and how you can incorporate them into spirit and Greek wear for universities. So let's go further into some of the current trends that we're seeing with this market. The popular garments is obviously the most important. If you're going to build a house, you would want a strong foundation, and that's exactly what these garments are. You want to make sure you have a strong foundation for your great design, because putting a beautiful design on a boxy t-shirt isn't going to sell the way it would on something like this. So when you're looking for fashion blanks to begin your decorating, look for those fitted garments that are made of soft cotton, and those with feminine details. Like I said, the soft necklines, the V necklines like you see in the blue shirt, those that are kind of a sheer and lightweight like the burnout and the light blue shirt here as well are very popular. And longer lengths in the t-shirts and sweatshirts as well are very popular. Kind of adheres to a woman's silhouette more than a shorter, more boxy t-shirt would. Also, those popular leggings that everybody has either come to love or hate, but they're not going anywhere, are very popular for this college market. And in just a minute, we're going to show you how you can inexpensively decorate these items as well for college spirit wear. Now let's talk about the icing you would put on the cake as well, as I would say. There's 6 popular designs that you're seeing in the female college-aged market right now. Mixing media, for any of you that are currently doing fashion wear, is no surprise. You're seeing foils and glitters mixing in with regular, everyday, basic films. Patterns and neons are also very popular, like the animal prints or plaids, especially in Greek wear. Looks that are vintage looking and distressed, much like you see in the burnout t-shirts as well, are becoming increasingly popular. Soft feel on the garment, whether it's just not being able to feel the design as well, or the design actually has a suede-like feel, are becoming very popular. And unique design placements, just like the black shirt you can see here on my presentation, the necklace has kind of created a unique placement to where it's almost like a necklace is hanging on her shirt. And these kind of designs are really becoming popular because college females are just looking for something that you wouldn't see traditionally, whether that be an all over print or just the words and designs placed in directions and places that you wouldn't have seen them traditionally. Now, as I had mentioned, we're going to be showing you how you can achieve these looks with a variety of heat transfer materials. So we'll start with our heat applied material for the vinyl cutter, our cad-cut material. And just so I have an idea, how much time I should spend on these type of looks, how many of you actually are owning a vinyl cutter? We'll take a real quick poll.
Okay, Courtney, it looks like we have 70% of the audience that owns a vinyl cutter and 30% that does not.
Oh, wow, great. So it looks like the majority of you actually do own a vinyl cutter. But for those of you that don't, again, don't worry. We'll show you some heat transfer techniques here later on in the webinar that will help you do that as well. And we'll also offer a great promotion for those of you that are going to attend the full webinar at the end. You'll be able to break in this type of design if it's something that you'd be interested in. Now, all of these looks that we've created, we're taking the fashion elements, again, that we see popular in retail markets today, and mixing them in with schools or groups like sororities. Naturally, you're going to want to make sure you can get the licensing rights to these schools before you begin decorating. So that would be kind of a step one. Our first design, if any of you follow our Stalls blog, you may have actually seen this already. But what I've done here is I've started with a soft cotton t-shirt. When you're looking for just a t-shirt to decorate, this is a great place to start because it's lightweight and it still has a soft feel to it, so you're able to get the comfort of the garment as well. I've taken the design items of what you would see on typical kind of college athletic wear, so the athletic lettering, and I've added a glitter to the Let's Go Buckeyes sign to make it a little more feminine, and a heart instead of where the O would have been. I also created an OSU two-color design like you would have on a jersey and put that placed on the backment of the design. So basically, I'll show you a quick video here of how I was able to create this design using the vinyl cutter, our cad-cut materials, and the heat press. And then we'll get into the cost of it as well. For those of you that aren't familiar with a vinyl cutter, we're basically just cutting the material here. We'll cut all 3 of the materials separately, weed them, and cut it. I'm just pausing here to understand. There's 2 pinch rollers that are holding the material in place, and then our blade is going to cut out the design. Now that all our designs have been cut, I'm going to just quickly weed away the material. And you're basically just I'm using what is a Stahl's Easy Weeder to peel back the excess material. Obviously, we have sped up the weeding a little bit easier. Just imagine how quick your production houses could be if this could be a real life scenario. But I want to make sure we get the designs all in, so we're just speeding up this part of the application. Again, it's important whenever you're decorating these softer garments to pick materials that are soft as well, so you're not getting an overly heavy design on those lightweight garments. Just something to think about when you're picking your materials for the vinyl cutter. Now I did gang up my red designs for the front and back just to save myself some time. So cut them apart before I'm going to heat apply. Now this will all heat apply at 320 degrees for about 10 to 15 seconds. I'm using our Hotronix Fusion and a smaller platen. It'll make it easier for me to thread this garment to make sure I get even pressure. But as long as you have the collar off and all the seams, you should have no problem with pressure in this. Just line up my Let's Go Buckeyes design, and I'm going to press it for 12 seconds, which is right in the middle of 10 to 15. Our glitter flake material that I'm using here is a cold peel, so I'll just use a quick heat eraser to cool it down, and then I'll be able to peel the material back. To create the second part of our design, I'm going to go back and lay my super film heart. In hindsight, you could also press these at the same time if you just trim down the carrier. Just two different ways of doing it. Since they both apply at the same temperature, you would have no problem doing that. Again, super film and this application is going to be another cold peel. So I'll just cool it down and then I'll be able to peel the carrier. You want to make sure when you're peeling these softer garments that you are holding them down to peel the carrier easily. Now I'll decorate the back of my garment. Again, this will be used to put the OSU logo down on the back of the garment. You could also use this placement to put a name or a group on the back to kind of personalize it as well. But I'm going to stick with the here for the banner. You may have I only first remember about 5 seconds. I'm going to use the second color over this. This is just the best, most effective to do it for 2 reasons. Save me time, which is one of the most important. It'll make it easier to line up my bottom layer. Again, I'll cool this down and cold peel. If you were going to do multiple jobs like this, you could obviously do the front and come back and do all of the backs as well. And that's it. We have a completed garment. So you can see how we have the glitter flake on the front and then a metallic silver and red on the back of the material. Now, to make a design like this cost-wise, you're looking about $8.22. I was able to get this cost using the sample cost sheet. If any of you are familiar with greatgarmentgraphics.com, this cost sheet can be found on there. And basically, I was able to add in the labor and the time of what it would cost me in my shop, the cost of the garment, and the cost of my material, the super film, and the glitter flake as well. For wholesale pricing is if you were going to sell this to maybe a bookstore or a large group, you would sell this for, I assume, double the cost. You would obviously factor in if you wanted to do 2.5 your cost, you could do that as well, but that'd be about $16. And retail, this could sell for about $25 if you're looking to sell this in your own shop or online. Now, by adding the extra design on the back and the glitter flake, you are able to sell this at a little more of a premium than you would if it was a basic, one color design. Now my second design, I've kind of incorporated the bright colors and the neons that I had mentioned in the beginning. I started with a rib neck tank and a bright pink. So if you're picking garments and you want to do bright colors, picking a bright color garment is a great place to start because you've already won half the battle. I was able to choose a rib neck because of the soft neckline, and also it's quite fitted for a woman's body as well. Just a great shirt for you to think about in the future decorating. I went back over it with a neon green super film and added in a metallic 2 foil just to get a little bit of mixing media and be able to make it more of a premium garment than an average everyday tank top. Now, I created this design the same way I did with my glitter flake. I was able to cut the super film and the metallic 2 on the vinyl cutter, simply weed away the excess material, and then I heat applied it. So basically just a few minutes of your time and you're able to create a design like this as well. Now, the cost of this design, again, I'm factoring in the cost of the material with the garment as well as labor and overhead, and that brings me to a total of $6.56. Now, this garment would likely be sold at a wholesale or a group rate just because it is sorority based. So you could wholesale this for about $13 to $15. Retail, you could sell it for about $20. It's not quite as high of a premium because of the shirt and the design as the glitter flake one, but still, because the add in the foil takes it a little more of a premium than a basic shirt. Our next design we're going to kind of talk about is soft designs. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that many college students are looking for a soft, lightweight garment. Why not add a soft, lightweight design to that as well? This way you're not kind of pulling down the design with a heavy, or the garment with a heavy design. We're starting for this design with the soft cotton V-neck t-shirt. And as you noticed in the beginning of the webinar, this shirt has a longer length, so it actually fits a woman's silhouette very nicely. So for starters, we're getting an A+ for sure for the garment. Now, when we created our design, I wanted to incorporate the whole idea of unique placement. Since the shirt already has a natural line from the V-neck, I went ahead and just expanded that line and created a diagonal effect with the university name, and then went back in with our cad-cut flock material. So I'll show you how we were able to kind of get this soft effect. As you can see in the zoomed in picture, it really looks exactly like the garment as far as there is no film kind of laying on top of the shirt. And for those of you that haven't seen this, this is a cad-cut H2O application. So I'm using the super film for this application. I'll show you a quick video. And it's the same super film that I've been using for all the other applications as well. So I'm going to cut my flock and super film material. Here I'm using a super film gold, which is approved for H2O. You will want to check the cad-cut Direct website if you are starting to look into do this, because not all the colors have been approved. The majority of them have, but it's just important to check before you start this. So again, I'll quickly weed away my design, and then we'll be able to heat apply the material. You will notice a little bit of breaking when you're weeding the super film, and that's basically because the material is extremely thin and has a great stretch to it. So it's kind of just a trade-off you have to get that nice soft feel. Clean up the rest of my designs, and then I'll be ready to take them over and heat apply. Now you'll notice that I'm not using the small platen, basically because the design is larger than a smaller platen would be. So I'm going to have to lay my full shirt out, and that's something to take in consideration if you do large oversized prints on shirts. You just want to make sure you have a full-size platen to be able to get the full effect. Now originally I was heat applying at 320 degrees for 15 seconds. For this application, you'll notice I did 400 degrees for 20 seconds, and I'm hot peeling it. So you can actually see, if I pause real quick here, that some of the film had stuck to the carrier. Now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to inlay my cad-cut flock. I had to change the temperature a little bit on my heat press to 320 degrees. So if you were doing this design in a production house, you may want to have either 2 heat presses or go through and do all of the H2Os and then come back over with the flock once you've turned the temperature down on your press. Flock is again a cold peel. So cool it down, and then I can peel my carrier for a completed design. So that's it. It only cost you about $9.25 to make this garment, and that is a breakdown of 80 cents in material, a $6 shirt, and I figured in $2.50 in labor. So wholesale, you would sell something like this for about $19, and retail, it would retail for about $25. Again, having that premium garment allows you to kind of sell this at a premium price. Next, we'll get to the item that I refer to as the essentials in college apparel. If any of you know anybody who is actually in college right now or that age group, you know that sweatpants are an everyday item pretty much. But the thing about women now is they want to have the comfort of the sweatpants without, for lack of a better term, the grunge. So they want those fitted yoga pants like this here that have a mixture of cotton and spandex. Now, when you're decorating these, it's important to make sure you have a thin and soft material to put on them. So I'm using the Super Film in its original application because it has the stretch and the softness that I'm going to need. I also went ahead and added another unique placement of the West Virginia logo onto the back of the sweatpants just to kind of add a little extra element and be able to take this garment again from an average pair of sweatpants to a little more of a premium. You could sell sweatpants like these for about $26.50. Again, I'm doubling the cost of the $13, and they would retail for about $35 because of the premium garment that we're putting them on and the unique placement of the design. Next, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to touch on those fantastic, beautiful leggings that everybody seems to love, I think. To do this, all you need is a vinyl cutter, our cad-cut super fill, and a heat press. So you would basically start by cutting the super film and heat applying it, and we have a quick video here to show you with that. So I'm just going to cut the design out of red super film, and you'll notice that I kept the design for these leggings very simple. It's a simple font in the wording and a simple design. You could get a little more crazy if you wanted to, but really just by adding the name, this is here as a mascot of a local school, so just by adding that onto the garment, you're getting a little more of a premium. Now I'm using a Teflon pillow to heat apply for two reasons. One is because I have a seam on the inside of the pant leg that I want to avoid, and second is to keep the leggings open wide enough for me to be able to heat apply to them. For those of you that aren't as familiar with leggings as maybe the college students are, they are a little bit more of a spandex material, so they're very stretchy, and you want to make sure that you're choosing a heat applied film that will adhere to those. Also, again, when you're peeling up the design, you want to make sure to hold down these stretchy spandex leggings. So that's it. It took us about 30 seconds to heat apply and let that cool. About another 30 seconds to cut our design. You're up to about a minute and a half with extra weeding time, and we have a completed design there. Now, I was able to buy these leggings for about $3 at a local store. The material, labor, and overhead cost me an extra $1.82. So wholesale, these would sell for about $10. Retail, you could price them up around $18, and you can see that this is a great item to kind of add on and to start specializing in. Now, earlier in the presentation, I had mentioned that I was going to show you other ways that you can create looks with heat applied materials. Those past looks were obviously all created with our cad-cut materials for the vinyl cutter, but now we'll kind of enter the world of transfers. I'd like to just take one last poll question real quick, and we'll get an idea of how many of you are creating your own transfers and how many of you are actually purchasing them. And again, I'll be able to gauge my presentation off of that once we have that information as well.
Okay, Courtney, the results are in. We have 15% that print on their own transfer with color laser printer. We have 27% with the inkjet. We have 75% that purchase custom transfers from a manufacturer, and 19% that own a digital transfer print and cut system.
Oh, fantastic. Just as I suspected, we have a great mixture, which is always the best case scenario. So let's go over some of the ways you can decorate using a laser printer to start with. Now, for those of you that do have a laser printer, or maybe you have a laser printer in your office and you've just never actually thought about using it to make transfers, I want to show you a unique way to create foil effects with just a laser printer, your heat press, our exact print transfer paper, and foil. So for this design, I started with an ultra thin burnout t-shirt. Again, this t-shirt just screams kind of a vintage, more distressed look to it. So you want to put a design on there that gives the same type of feel. So I've used a distressed font, and if any of you are familiar with font websites like defont.com, I just downloaded a font called Gesso and was able to just type out my design in that and add the mascot. So it was really easy to prepare the artwork for this design and still get a vintage feel. Now I'll show you a video of exactly how this was made. And I'm going to start again by threading my burnout shirt and pulling my collar off to make sure I don't have any issues with pressure. And I've already printed my laser transfer paper design on exact print using just a plain black ink, nothing special about it in my Oki printer. Now this exact print transfer paper will heat apply at 330 degrees for 30 seconds. And then just let it cool down for about 7 to 10 seconds before you peel it. And you want to peel it just kind of in a slow, smooth motion. Let's pause real quick here to show you guys. You can see as I'm peeling this up how there seems to be only where the ink was that's pulling off of this transfer paper. And that's the great thing about the exact print transfer paper that I'm using here. And that's what's going to allow me to be able to do this a foil effect, because the only thing that's coming off onto my garment is the ink itself. You can see the pink is where the ink is kind of pulled off. There's no ring around here, and I didn't do any type of weeding to prepare this transfer paper either. Just finished pulling that paper off. And then I'm going to overlay a piece of foil with the color side up, so it's going to be gold, for another 30 seconds at 330 degrees. Now I'm going to make sure this cools down completely because this is definitely a cold peel. But once it peels cold, you can just pull the heat transfer foil right off, and the only thing that's stuck is where the ink was. Now here, coming up in another week or two, we're going to show you how you can use this transfer paper to create even more unique distressed webinars. It's a webinar called 5 Ways to Create Foil Designs. So that's definitely something you're going to want to check out for as well. Now the cost of this garment, we're again decorating a more premium burnout garment. If any of you have decorated these in the past, you know price-wise they are already sold at a premium, but we're able to get the cost with the laser transfer paper, which is only about 65 cents per sheet. Add in 10 cents for the foil, some labor, some ink for the laser printer, and your cost is only going to be about $9.15. Again, my wholesale price, if you were selling this to maybe a school bookstore or to a large amount of groups, you could sell it for $20 or retail it in your shop for about $28. So it's a great garment to kind of add as far as selling premium garments for easy. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, patterns are very popular in Greek apparel. From animal prints to plaids, adding these patterns into sorority names and Greek letters can help take those sort of plain, solid, everyday garments like the white t-shirt I have here and give them a little extra pizzazz. So we basically just have decorated a plain fitted woman's t-shirt has some pink accents to it. So we wanted to pull those out in our design as well. This design was created using a print cut system like a Roland Versacam. So for those of you that do have those systems, we use a CAD Color Solutions clear material for the white t-shirt and our heat press. So for those of you that are familiar with this process, we basically just printed our design and cut it. We weeded it, we masked it, and we heat applied it. And taking in the total cost of the inks, the materials, along with the shirt and labor, we're looking at about $7 per shirt that you could create this finished look yourself. Now, for those of you that don't have print cut systems, because obviously there's about 80% of you that don't, you could order digital prints like those that stalls offer called CAD prints, digital transfers, and those are basically the exact same thing that what you would create it yourself with the Roland Versacam. Again, you could use the CAD Color Solutions clear material with CAD prints and just upload your artwork to us. We print it, do all the work, and we would send you the completed transfers. Now, to do this, I factored in the cost of the transfer, which would cost you a little under $3 for the design, added some labor time for heat pressing and the garment cost, and you're up around $7.85 to order the CAD prints and create these shirts yourself. Again, if you have laser transfer paper or inkjet papers, or maybe you even use screen printed transfers from somewhere else, you could obviously just create the same artwork with the pattern of the sorority inside of it, and add in some of the sorority colors, and you've already got a completed garment with those type of transfers as well. So there's many ways to achieve this look. The important thing is that you're getting the idea of patterns, whether it is using the sorority name or some Hannibal prints or plaids. Now, another option for creating patterns in prints would be to order custom cut. For those of you that maybe order more of custom cut stuff or to embroidery, this is a great addition to be able to upsell to this niche market if you're not already selling to it. Now, this is our custom made easy sublimated twill. So if you're currently doing embroidery, then basically you could just order a sew disc from us to be able to sew and create the same look. But the great thing about sublimated twill is that it has a permanent adhesive, so it doesn't have to be sewn if you don't have those capabilities, and it still gives you a great look. Either way, it's just whatever look you're looking to achieve. So you would just send us the custom cut designs, and pretty much we'd send them back to you heat applied. The cost of this would be $16.24. Now this cost is based on a minimum order. You would need to order 6 of these to get started with the sublimated twill. But then again, if you're selling to sororities, selling multiple jobs is not a hard thing because there's so many people in the sorority. If you wanted to customize these garments, you could certainly do so with a name on the back. But this would be just a great way to do it as well. Wholesale, you would sell these to, like I said, a group of girls for about $32, or you could retail them in your shop for $38 to $40, just depending on which way you want to sell these. So lastly, I want to touch on some ways you can be marketing yourself to these 18 to 24-year-olds, because let's face it, the product, even if it's fantastic, is no good if you can't get it in front of your customers. So first, we'll kind of look at the basics. If you're not already decorating for this market, simply start locally and look at the colleges and the universities that you can go after. Basic 101, just start targeting Greek organizations, honor societies, and even intramural sports. Intramurals are a great way to eventually get into decorating spirit wear and athletic wear for the larger, kind of universities. Also, you might want to look into kind of pitching your garments to the bookstores and showing them some of the possibilities of your decorated garments in their stores and being able to sell to them at a wholesale level. For student organizations or groups, you could obviously get in front of them by just simply using the old school posters or flyers or campus newspapers, just to show them some of the possibilities with their Greek organizations or their student organizations for decorating. Now, the big one about reaching this target market that I'm sure we could spend another hour or so talking about is social media. First things first, if you don't already have a Facebook page, you definitely should. I would recommend getting this for more than just reaching this target market, but really just reaching all of your customers in general. There is a great amount of information that you can get out there for pretty much free if you wanted to do it that way. If you don't have a Facebook page already, set up a fan page, and then work on gaining your fans. It's pretty much that simple. You will have to, start by asking people in your company maybe to like the page or suggesting it to their friends, to your customers as well, whether you want to, show it on your web page and ask them to become a fan. And it's important to be kind of patient as you're starting this, because people don't start to like this kind of stuff overnight. So just be patient, and eventually, your customers and the fans will come. If you're looking for ways to kind of bring more people in, contest is definitely a great way to do it. I originally read about a contest that a t-shirt company had ran, and I thought it was a very clever way to kind of increase fans. So just to give you an idea of something you could do, they made a shirt for a giveaway, and they simply posted a picture of the shirt on their Facebook page. So if you were going after this college market, you could simply create a fan apparel shirt and offer to give it away. And then the way that your fans would enter into the contest is that they would tag themselves into the photo. So it kind of creates what is a domino effect, because when those people tag themselves in the photo of your shirt, it then shows up in their friend's newsfeed, then creating a domino effect where they're kind of wanting to see what the shirt is, see what the company is about, and then, they have to like the page in order to see the photo and what their friend tagged themselves in. So it's really just a great way to increase traffic and the fans to your page, especially if you're doing a collegiate market. Discounts and promotions are obviously very important. You can turn your fans into customers with those types of things. But you also have to remember that content kind of goes hand in hand with social media. So you want to make sure to show more than just discounts and more than just promotions. You want to be able to give valuable information to your students using both Facebook and the other type of social media that's popular, which is Twitter. Now, Twitter is great for just staying in the face of your target market. And if you're going to offer information to them, you want to make sure, again, that you're offering things that are relevant to them, not just discounts and not just promotions. Although adding those things in will definitely turn the people that follow you into customers. But you want to make sure that, for example, if you're decorating Greek apparel, you would engage your followers by asking them for news on Greek groups, or asking them questions about their formals or upcoming rush weeks, and just kind of engaging yourself with the news that's with the universities or with that type of organization as well. So that's just kind of a quick little, here's how you can use the Facebook page or the Twitters that you've already created or that you could create, just to gain some more fans and to get those fans into customers and to get sales out of them. Now, in a blog post that I'm going to be writing on greatgarmentgraphics.com that'll be available in about an hour or two after the webinar, I'll kind of touch more on how to decorate these upsell items for college-aged females. But I want to get over the important details that this niche market is a great one to offer more products and more accessories to once you have already won their initial business with the great garments that you're going to be decorating. They're basically looking for any type of accessories that they can kind of stand out and still be able to identify with their school or their group organization. So whether you add it to their bags or their shoes, koozies, pillowcases, mouse pads, umbrellas, the possibilities are endless. And just want to make sure that you're showing their designs on those everyday items, whether it's when they come in the shop to pick up their designs or at some other point between the sales process, just showing them this is what you could also have, and this is how you could look that much better with these extra items. So again, look for my blog post to kind of go over how to decorate those items as well. And in the future, we'll kind of touch on that also. Now, lastly, before I go, As a little thank you for all of you attending our webinar presentation, we want to offer some package deals to get you guys started. So just to kind of outline what you see here on the presentation, the first one is a vinyl cutter package. So for the 20% of you or so that aren't currently decorating with a vinyl cutter, this is a great way to create some of those fantastic, simple designs, and even decorating things like the leggings with a vinyl cutter for only a small investment. With this package, we're going to give you the software you need to get started, the tools like the Easy Weeder, and also some of the materials we used here today in the presentation, so you can start decorating for the collegiate women's market. So there's cad-cut glitter flake, metallic 2, and super film. And you'll be given 3 one-yard cuts of each, so you're kind of able to play around and see what kind of designs work best. Also, we're offering 15% off the exact print transfer paper, as well as all our transfer papers, and 10% off of our cad-cut materials that you saw here, like the glitter flake, the metallic 2, and super film. So ordering is easy. Just simply call Win 100 Stalls, 4 stalls, let them know you were in on our webinar and you want to order. Unfortunately, this offer does expire after tomorrow, but I know many of you are excited to get started, so you want to hurry up and get those orders in anyway so you can get the product to you. So the expiration date's really not a problem, right? And thank you all for joining us. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or contact me at any time. Also, if you want to see more about digitally printed apparel, like the transfers that you saw here towards the end of the webinar, feel free to join us next week, next Tuesday, for a presentation given by Josh Ellsworth. So again, thank you guys all, and look forward to your feedback and your questions.
Okay, Courtney, we do have a couple questions.
Okay.
Okay. One of the audience wants to know if the foil will adhere to the Transfer Express transfers as well.
We haven't tested for it to be able to adhere to that as well just yet. But if you are currently screen printing, the foil would stick to that as well. So I'm sure in the future we'll be able to test for that.
Okay. We also have another question. They wanted to know, would you stretch the tank top prior to heat applying on it?
You definitely could. It would help just to, make sure you're embedding the design a little bit better. But you don't have to. I didn't when I heat applied, but it's definitely just a preference. It wouldn't hurt it either way.
Okay, Courtney. Well, that looks like all of our questions for today.
Fantastic.